and Alba in the centre, the impressive Pedri along with Busquets and De Jong, and up front it's Dembélé. Just incredible soap opera surrounding the Frenchman over the last few weeks. He has impressed so much, given the start then alongside Aubameyang and Torres, both of which have hit the ground running since making those January transfer moves.
They sure have. And let's just start with Araujo and as to why he's playing and not Dani Alves. Well, it's essentially a reaction to the possible transition by Real Madrid with Vinicius Jr. Who do you want marking Vinicius Jr. on a sprint? Dani Alves at 38 years old or Ronald Araujo and his physicality and speed? Well, I think the answer is very clear from Xavi's perspective. As to the front three, what I think is important from Xavi's perspective is that he's given this front three now continuity. He's been kind of mixing and matching a little bit and rotation, and I like this matchup and I like that matchup and maybe we play Traore. No. Here, when it counts, when it matters, your most important game, you're going with the front three that you think is most productive, and that's Ousmane Dembele, the goals of Aubameyang, and the movement of Ferran Torres. They have been playing at a high level, and then the guys underneath have also been playing at a high level. Frenkie de Jong has picked up his level of play. Busquets and his possession has been excellent, was excellent against Galatasaray, and of course, you know I love me some Pedri. He's been excellent as well. This team from Barcelona is trending in the right direction. Now it's a matter of whether you can validate the things that you've been doing by getting a result today against Real Madrid.
Now, there's a number of Clasico watch parties going on all around the country, including Miami. Sebastian Salazar is there with a special guest.
Absolutely, Dan. Thank you very much. Alongside Barcelona legend Patrick Kluivert. Patrick, what do you think here of the Peña of Barcelona in Miami?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know how many people came to watch the game. It's fantastic that they're so desired to see the game. So it's very nice. We're going to watch a very good game.
And came to watch the game. They also came to get his autograph. There was a line about 20 deep, about 10 seconds after he got in the door. I've been talking to some of these fans, and you realize that Barcelona fans are feeling good right now because the team is playing well. But there's also some nervousness because this is a real test against Real Madrid.
Exactly.
How do you feel about Barcelona?
Well, it is a real test. The last 4 games in the Liga they won, so this is the real test to play against a really strong Real Madrid at the moment. And of course, Benzema is not playing, so I can see that the people here are looking for a win.
Xavi's a former teammate of yours. Obviously, the team has turned around since he took over. Can you put your finger on what he's done to make them so much better?
Well, he had the signings of Traore, Aubameyang, Ferran Torres. Those players, they know how Barcelona is playing. They're feeling the thing very good, and I think that Xavi really wanted to have these guys to explore more of this team, and I think that you see his thumb on this team.
You mentioned Aubameyang. I find that interesting because I feel like when he signed with Barcelona, a lot of people were like, well, this isn't going to be a good fit, yet it's really worked. What do you think about it?
Well, he did a fantastic job at Arsenal, of course, and Aubameyang is a great player. He needs to adapt still, but at the moment he's scoring games, he's scoring goals, and he's playing good. And I think he can do even better than he's now showing.
Another player that people are very excited about, of course, the guys we're just talking about him in the starting lineup today, is Pedri. You would have been at Barcelona. You left in 2004, so really right when Messi is kind of becoming a thing. Yes. You hear the first Pedri comparisons, it was Iniesta. Now all of a sudden it's Messi. Is it too much?
Well, it's not too much. I think that Pedri, how he is playing at the moment, is fantastic. Such a young boy coming from Canary Islands, fitting absolutely fantastic in the team. I think that last year he played too many games, and that's why he was also injured for some time. But you see, now he's back. He's putting the team really back together.
When you usually have a Real Madrid-Barcelona Clasico, it's maybe for a league title on the line. There's right now 15 points between the two teams in the table. What is the change that Barcelona has to make to close that gap, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, win this game. No, but you know what it is. It's very difficult to get those 15 points really with 5 points or something like that. But you know, this is the Clasico. Clasico is a special game. It's the best game in the world, I think. And those games you want to win.
You say it's the best game in the world. You have played in, I think, if our statistics are right, 14 Clásicos in your life, okay? 4 goals, 4 assists, and 1 red card. Now, the video department couldn't find the red card. They're going to play some of your goals here that you have scored against Real Madrid over the years. What is it like? Give us the emotional feeling. What's it like to score in a Clásico?
Well, as I just said, it's the best game in the world, and if you can score in a game like this, and what you just said, normally it's between winning or the title or not. But it's a special game, you know. Even if you play in Bernabeu or in Camp Nou, so much attention to a game like this. The whole week they're speaking about the game. And if you play, you know, it's I can't describe. You have to feel it.
You have to been there and have done that,
exactly.
And you're one of the few guys that has. So great to have you here with us on ESPN Plus. We hope you enjoy the game. That's Patrick Kluivert. We're here from Miami, actually Coral Gables, the Barcelona Peña. The guys are lined up here. Yeah, they need their pictures. They need their autographs. So let you do your thing. Dan, back to you.
I love the thought of them elbowing Sebi out the way to get their pictures.
It wouldn't take much.
Now, Seb, of course, one half of Football Americas. When one is on, contractually, the other has to be on as well. Hercules Gomez is in LA. Herc, ahead of this game at a watch party there.
Yeah, hi guys, how you guys doing? I don't know if that's in my contract, but it should be. I hope it means a little bit more money. That Dan Thomas money would be nice. I got a chance to speak to Davor Suker precisely here in Los Angeles about this big game, El Clasico, and he was mentioning no Karim Benzema. What are you going to do? How can you combat that? The French forward, 33 goal involvements out of the big 5 leagues in Europe. No player has more. He's going to be sorely missed. Can Vinicius Jr. be that player? We were talking about that, 17 goals this season. The previous 3 seasons, he didn't score that combined. So it's going to be interesting. Davor Suker believes in Ancelotti, believes in the Real Madrid, DNA more than anything. He wanted to factor that in, the DNA of Real Madrid and how important this game can be.
Herc, why do you still have your jacket on? Are you not staying?
What do you mean I have my jacket on? It's cold in here, man. I can't have my jacket on?
Hercules Gomez, thank you very much. Of course, it has been very much the breakout season, hasn't it, for Vinicius Jr. Has just performed on that sort of level that most are expecting when he made that move to Real Madrid. We go behind the science as to what made him click this season.
Get on my level. Get on my level. I'm too fly. I'm too high. Vinicius Jr. Way too strong. Way too cold. Get on my level. Vinicius Jr. I'm hot. Got it. Blazed up. Max deal. Caked up. Get on my level. Get on my level.
The leap that Real Madrid superstar Vinicius Jr. has made this season has to be the most impressive in all of Europe, as seen in the huge increase in both his scoring and assists. So what makes this Brazilian left winger so sensational and the focal point of the top scoring club in La Liga?
Absolutely superb.
Let's take a look. It all starts with his speed. In just 3 quick strides, he can hit over 14 miles an hour and cover 25 feet of ground. And his top speed of 21.5 miles an hour is an entire mile per hour faster than the average La Liga forward. But what makes Vinny special is how he changes his speed. While dribbling, he can stop in an instant and shift the vector of his hips by 120 degrees in just 0.4 of a second. That's similar to the aggressive hip movement UFC lightweight Justin Gaethje uses on a kick. Now, Vinny's finishing has also been stellar this season, with over half his shots being on target. Compared to last season, that's a jump of 20 percentage points. That increased accuracy highlights perhaps the biggest improvement in Vinny's game, his decision-making.
Cool, calm and collected.
To analyze his options when attacking, Vinny's brain utilizes what are called procedural memories located in the cerebellum. These memories, which build over time, allow his brain to chunk information into patterns. What this all means is that Vinny can subconsciously predict player movement and land crosses like this.
That is a work of art.
To hit Karim Benzema on this 25-yard assist, Vinny must drop the ball in an area that's just 5 square feet in size. If he's off left or right by just 0.6 of a degree, he misses the mark. That's a similar margin for error as Steph Curry drilling a three-pointer from the logo.
Steph Curry knocks it down.
There's no question Vinicius Jr. has always had the talent, but now he's finally putting it all together, leaving us just as mind-blown as his opponents.
How cool was that?
Well, yes, it was. And it was a reminder of the many things that were missing in my game, in my career.
Professor Ian Darke.
Procedural memories. Yeah. I did not have that in my game.
Ian, of course, will be calling the game a little later on with Steve McManaman by his side. But let's go back pitch side, shall we, to 3 more guys who certainly lack maybe that brain instinct that Vinicius Jr. has.
Oh, Dan, I won't fight you there. We've got Casey Keller here with us, and he just told us that while he was warming up, he and the players used to actually try and hit the sideline reporters. So now I'm actually a bit worried here, but we definitely don't. But
it doesn't say much for their accuracy that we've been standing here for 20 minutes and no one's been anywhere near us yet.
But nobody's trying to hit us just yet. But let's talk about Vinny Jr. Luis, this is something that we've been talking about as well, because I keep going back to that match with Real Sociedad that I did see Benzema go off injured, and everyone started panicking, wondering who's going to step up for Real Madrid. And Vinny Jr. just looked like he didn't need anybody else. But you've spoken about the chemistry that he does have for Benzema. So how can he live without it today? And do you foresee this being a big night for him?
I think he needs a game like this one to show that he doesn't need anybody next to him to shine. I think the improvement of Vinicius during the whole season has been fantastic. The decision making has been great. The link, of course, with Benzema has been, I think, one of the best that we've seen so far in the whole competition. But he needs to prove a point. He needs to show that on my own I can get this. I can be the leader of this team because I'm young, it's true, but I can give everything to this Real Madrid. It's true, it's not going to be easy. Today is not going to be a game to try to be dominant with the ball, but definitely it's going to have a space to run, and you know that Vinicius with the space can be very dangerous.
So is the stage kind of set for a Vinny Jr. Clasico?
I think in terms of the style it might be, because you may well have a Barcelona team that plays high enough that you've got the space to run in behind. I think it's very interesting to see how they end up lining up, whether we have Modric going through the middle, so Vinicius stays slightly to the left. Even if he does play to left, I expect him to be a bit less narrow than normal. I expect him to play a little bit more inside, and so maybe the freedom to go for goal a little bit more rather than to look to play off Benzema. But let's see how it pans out. But I think you're right, the idea of having space is really significant. We sat behind that goal and watched him against Cadiz when it was 0-0, and every time he got the ball and you're watching Carlos Acapo in front of him, you felt sorry for Acapo because the speed and the intensity with which Vinicius went at him and the insistence time and time again. But what he didn't have that night was space, and Acapo played brilliantly, and Vinicius found it difficult to just find that way through, and I think with space tonight it maybe suits him. We may see him be involved less often but be more decisive when he is.
Well, when the Karim Benzema news broke, everybody was wondering who could step up for Real Madrid. But one name that I think doesn't even get mentioned enough is Luka Modric. I mean, what an amazing player he has been. Luis, just thoughts on exactly how brilliant he is. Have a look at this. Do you think you could still do this at this age?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Definitely, he's a special player. Well, he's a player who has won a Ballon d'Or. That says a lot about him. But not only that,
he doesn't look like he's ever slowing down.
No, not at all. Not at all. But he's also very clever. He's not doing all the efforts that he used to do before. He's not trying to run with the ball as far as he was doing before. But that experience that he's got, he's been in the game for many, many years, allow him to do that. He can keep the ball. He knows when he has to speed up. He knows when he has to link with the other players, when he has to break the line to try to help the team bring the ball to the other side. So I think the experience gives you that. Probably no, he's not going to be faster than before. He's not going to run as many sprints as before. But definitely every single time he's going to be involved in the game, it's going to be important.
Defensively, let's quickly talk about Barcelona, because that has been a weakness just recently, and we did speak about how they do have a high line and how Real Madrid do have the pace to actually hurt them. I know you weren't too happy. You said that you were ready to write off Xavi for leaving off Dani Alves.
I've had enough. I'm not watching Barcelona anymore. You can't leave out Dani Alves. The greatest player of all time. You can't leave him off the team. No, I mean, in all seriousness, Alves has been really, really important to him so far. He's started every league game that he's been available, and so in that sense, it's a surprise. But I would agree with what both Luis and also what Ali was saying about the idea of the physicality and the speed to be able to match Vinicius. Now, it may well be that if Vinicius is playing inside, it wouldn't have been the right back's job anyway. It may well be that it would have fallen to the right side of the central defender. But I think it's all about pace. The decision to play Araujo instead, I think it's all about pace and physicality.
Luis, what about you? We're just waiting for the teams to come out. Just a few of the goalkeepers are behind us warming up. But defensively for Barcelona, how do they deal with the threat that we know Real Madrid are going to pose tonight?
It's to try to have a defensive intention of, okay, we have to bring the team up. We know that we're going to leave spaces, but if we don't allow Real Madrid to get the ball in turn, that's the intention that Barcelona has been bringing to this year team. What Xavi wants, you want to make a quick reaction. You don't want to leave Modric turning around, of course, turning around and looking up. That's what Barcelona is going to try today. Of course, if you have Araujo on your side, you're going to use him. Why not? He's got the pace, he's got the intensity on the game. So, but I'm sure even that Vinicius is not going to try to play in that side. He's going to try to get in the middle. It's something that you would expect. I'm going to try to find a player who is not as fast as him. So you got Piqué, players who maybe with my speed. So he's going to try to find that no stick on the left side next to Araujo. So Barcelona is about that, trying to be very compact up front and don't letting Vinicius run.
Well, we're just getting a sneak peek into the tunnel. The Barcelona players getting ready to come out and warm up. Undoubtedly, they will be met with such a feisty reception. We couldn't even hear ourselves through the booze when the goalkeepers came out, but we'll get them out to train as well as the Real Madrid players. And until then, back to you, Dan.
I just want to ask Luis a question because we saw some interesting scenes in the tunnel just before the teams come out to warm up. Luis, we saw Busquets and Piqué embracing with Casemiro. We can see the players now friendly, happy, kind of hugging each other from the opposition. Is it fair to say this is something that has evolved even since your day, this kind of friendliness before? Because I'm thinking back when I was growing up, you kind of had the feeling that the opposition, there was a real hatred going into this match as opposed to friendly scenes we're seeing now.
Yes, of course, Dan, but these guys, the ones that we are seeing at the moment on the screens, are going to be next week training each other because they're going to be with the national team. So at the end, it's not something, the rivalry is on the pitch. We got Roy Keane always mentioning that he's never going to get involved in that. He doesn't like to be part of that friendly thing. In the tunnel, he will always have a sad face, an angry face, but I think it's something that not everybody likes to do. You want to be calm, you want to be relaxed, to be and perform on the field, and well, that's what the players are doing. Once that happens on the field, I can tell you it's going to be a battle.
Right, well, the Real Madrid players have just come out to train. The Barcelona players undoubtedly will be behind them. But Sid, what do you make of that then? Does it take a little bit of the shine from the Clasico? Because I used to love me a Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira tunnel scrap.
Well, I mean, if we're going to focus it purely on Roy Keane, of course, that's the nature of Roy Keane. You know, it's all about the growl, really, isn't it? And about that confrontational mentality. And I think for some players, it probably does help. But for other players, I assume at least you don't need it. You don't necessarily need that to then go out and change the game. And you know, by the way, we saw there Dani Carvajal and Gerard Piqué, who have called each other out publicly a couple of times. There have been one or two kind of verbal confrontations. But I think most players, much more than the rest of us from the outside, actually know that part of this is a laugh and part of this is a bit of a game, and it doesn't matter that much until the whistle goes.
Exactly, it's part of the game. They know, and again, we've seen Clásicos very, very heat with a lot of pressure. Fights in between the players. We all remember Xavi Alonso getting involved with Busquets and so on. But at the end, once you finish that, they are teammates for the national team. They are players who know that this is a part of the profession, it's part of the job, and well, they leave everything on the field. And well, fortunately for everybody, today I think it's going to be calm for now.
Calm for now. I was about to say the wind is picking up, the boos and the cheers are just as much picking up as well. The only thing that's missing here is Dan Thomas and Ale Moreno. Barcelona, Ali.
What's interesting is that we saw the players coming out there, and I've taken friends to these games before, is you can be sitting there chatting away, blah, 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 and all of a sudden those whistles are so deafening. It's almost like a fire alarm going off, and it's so unexpected for people who haven't been to these sort of matches before. It's a wake-up call, and then once again an indicator this is a proper match. Get ready for this.
And it's a wake-up call for everybody, including the players that are coming onto the field. It's like, okay, we were just hugging, and okay, it was great, it was beautiful, we're going to be teammates next week. Now we got to warm up, it's over. Now we focus on the things that we need to do in order to get ready, and now it's about my team, my group, my players, and what I can do for my team to be successful. That's the players on the field. And the fans in the stadium, it's also, okay, we're here to see something special, and today has the potential of being something special.
How do you explain the growth of Pedri so quickly and the maturity that he has shown from a Barcelona perspective? Because he looks like he's been around for years.
One part of it is natural talent. What he has, you simply cannot teach. This is a player that simply has a personality on the field that is confident, that is comfortable, that is so smooth on the ball, and that is just simply natural talent. But then there's an element of confidence that you need to have from the players around you that recognize that talent and now want to nurture it as well. We got to take advantage of this kid because this kid can make our team successful, can make our team special. And then comes Xavi with his experience and seeing what Pedri is as a player, and he must say, man, this looks like some of the things that I used to do. This looks like some of the things that Iniesta used to do. And I can get even more out of Pedri. And so you have a combination of things and elements that are working in favor of Pedri. The natural talent, then the players around him, and then a manager that understands his needs and wants as a player. And what you have is the full package and the full potential being displayed by Pedri. The only thing I would say about Pedri is that in order to continue to grow his game, he needs to be more impactful in the final third. We're seeing it more and more and with more consistency. He adds that to his game. Let me tell you something. He has the potential of being the best player in the world.
Yeah, an extraordinary talent. Let's get more, shall we? Looking ahead to our Clasico. Sid Lowe has subbed out. Casey Keller is in alongside Alexis and Luis.
Yes, indeed. We've got Casey that's joined us now. He just had to bully Sid off. Sid's off to go do some writing. But Casey, brilliant. I know you were, of course, at your former club, Rayo Vallecano, last night, which we hear is a very exciting atmosphere. But this is El Clasico now. How does it feel to be here?
Yeah, this is another level. I mean, this is one of the marquee matchups in world football, if not the matchup in world football. And the stadium, obviously, I heard you guys talking about it. It's under construction. You understand that, but you can't tell when you're down here. You'd have no idea. And so the players will just be like any other normal environment. You saw the reception that the guys got. Obviously, Ter Stegen comes out, everybody's booing him as usual. And it's just, you know you're in that match. You know you're in that crazy game that you just always, you look on the list every time it comes out. What's the first thing you look at? You look at that big rivalry game, and when is that going to happen? Because you know what it means to the fans. You know what it means as a player.
And it's a good thing that we have you now, because one thing that I think we don't talk about enough, which Xhaka will be so proud as well, is the goalkeepers. And honestly, Ter Stegen, we know exactly the quality he has, but Thibaut Courtois has been having an absolute season. So in the battle of the goalkeepers, Casey, who's been impressing you the most?
Well, I myself am having a little PTSD, because over my shoulder, Figo put a move on me one time and dribbled around me for a goal.
He is Figo,
and I'm having little flashbacks and looking over my shoulder. But yes, the two goalkeepers obviously have been two of the best for a while, and Courtois has really had the season to remember. And you know, Ter Stegen coming off injuries and has really reestablished himself in a Barcelona side that looks more like a Barcelona side. But the defensive record of Real Madrid has been fantastic, and Courtois has been a big reason for that.
And bringing things a bit outfield now back to Luis, because the boys were just talking and singing Pedri's praises. I mean, sometimes we forget how young he is. Are you surprised by how he's just evolved and almost plays like he has a wealth of experience, really?
Yeah, it looks like he's been there for 10 years. I mean, the capacity of knowing what he has to do in every single position, getting involved into the game easily. It doesn't matter if you play him on the left, on the right. And I think now with Xavi next to him, he can bring in that experience and tell him, listen, yeah, what you're doing is fantastic. You can keep the ball, you can combine, you can give us a lot on the build-up, but we want something else. We want you to get involved in assisting. We want you to get involved in getting inside the box, being more efficient for us, efficient in scoring goals, giving assists, being more into the box, making those runs from second line. And I think at the moment, he's picking it. He's picking it. Couple of goals, few assists, and we see Pedri inside the box. That's what we want.
Well, guys, the Barcelona players are out. The Real Madrid players are out. Casey Keller has joined the party. So now it is definitely a party as we count down to El Clasico. Dan?
Thank you very much. If you're watching on ESPN Plus, you don't have to do anything. Now, if you're watching on one of our social networks, just click on the QR code. That will take you exclusively to Barcelona against Real Madrid, of course, on ESPN Plus. What is interesting, and what, in fact, will make a great documentary, is Ousmane Dembele. Over the last 3 months, talk about highs and lows. His contract, of course, ends in the summer. Barcelona tried to get him to sign a new one. He refused because he'd have to take a pay cut. They then said, well, I tell you what, you're not going to play here ever again. Good luck to you. However, when he's been given the chance by Xavi, and despite the fact he's been booed by the fans at the Camp Nou, he has shone and been an absolute integral part in Barcelona and this unbeaten run they're on over the last few weeks.
So, as I told you a couple of weeks ago, when he was being booed and scoring goals while he was being booed, Barcelona fans should have been booing Dembele the whole time, because since then, they have been getting the most productive version of Ousmane Dembele. A player who's producing not only for himself, but for others. He's cutting to the inside. He's finding passes. He cuts to the outside with that speed. He's also finding crosses into the box. He has a great understanding, has developed a great understanding of Aubameyang when the ball is coming into the box. And then he's also scoring goals himself. We had not seen that with any sort of consistency from Ousmane Dembele at any point with Barcelona. And so, it has to be said that in a moment of pressure where everybody's looking at him and everybody's waiting to boo Ousmane Dembele because of that relationship, that fractured relationship with the club, he has brought out his very best. Somehow, the attention on him, the negative attention, has purposed his focus into something, and that is his performance on the field. And it shows in the way that he's playing. And when he's playing at his best, we see the results.
Meanwhile, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, very much out of the door at Arsenal, ignored, bad behaviour, late for training, not the sort of influence that they wanted there. Made that move to Barcelona. Barcelona and Arsenal made it happen. Both seemed happy. I don't think many could have predicted really the impact that he would have so immediately.
And it's a move that Barcelona had to make because of necessity, because of desperation, because you were depending on Ferran Jutgla and Luke de Jong to score a goal for you. You needed somebody else. You needed a goal guy, a goal dangerous guy, a guy that you can trust inside the 18-yard box. And for Aubameyang, it's his last go around at the big time. It's his last chance. So all this nonsense that was going on at Arsenal, he had to put away and he had to show up at his best level, whatever his best level is right now. And he has done that and more for Barcelona, because he has given this team a focal point in the attack inside the 18-yard box, a guy that's going to score goals, but also a guy that can stretch the back lines, that can run in behind, that is a threat in behind. And in being a threat in behind, it pushes defensive line back to where now you provide space to the underneath guys. So now Pedri has space, Gavi has space, Frenkie de Jong has space. But that's because Aubameyang gives you that threat. I can get in behind, I can score goals, I can be a presence inside the 18-yard box. He has been perfect so far for Barcelona.
Credit to Xavi for both of those players.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the case of Aubameyang, there must have been conversations between Xavi and Aubameyang and said, look, whatever happened at Arsenal, I don't care. It's not important to me. You have a real opportunity here, and I'm going to use you, and I'm going to need your very best. And he is getting his very best. And that, for me, is what matters, that Aubameyang is now feeling confident about himself. The players around him are feeling confident about the job that he can do for them. And then that gives freedom for Dembele to shine, for Ferran Torres to shine, to have rotation in the attack, and to have a variety in the attack that they did not have before. This is part of the reason as to why Barcelona has changed.
You look at it as well, De Jong starts, who's improved, I reckon, in the last few weeks.
He has, and the reason he has improved is because he's been willing to get into the attacking half with a purpose, being that second-line attacker. Luis was mentioning Pedri being a second-line attacker. Well, That's exactly what Frenkie de Jong is becoming as well. A player who can get into the box and can be an option. Against Galatasaray, the second goal comes from de Jong, being in the box, cutting it back to Aubameyang, and Aubameyang is scoring. That's what de Jong is doing now that he wasn't doing before.
Now, if you're watching on ESPN Plus, you don't have to do anything. However, if you're watching on one of our social networks, click on the QR code now or click on ESPN Plus for our Clasico exclusively kicking off at 4. Here we are then, El Clasico, Real Madrid against Barcelona, and how there is very much a different feel going into this game than there was in the previous encounter earlier on in the season. Real Madrid rocked up to the Camp Nou and got it done relatively easily. How things have changed